It has been 4 years since the justices read their opinions out loud like this for all of us to see and for us to have a dissent from the bench because of COVID. They hadn't been on display like this. And, you know, to John's point about this generational shift, the weight of history was so evident in the room as the justices began to read. Chief Justice John Roberts sitting in the middle of the nine with the Solicitor General and all these lawyers sitting in front of him, and his wife Jane kind of slips in right before he starts to read. So you could have heard a pin drop, and he announces right off the bat that they're rolling back all affirmative action. And I have to say, there was a bit of defiance in his voice, even though Kate, Sarah, John, this is something John Roberts has been working on for himself many, many years, back to his time as a young Ronald Reagan administration lawyer. He does not believe in any kind of race-conscious remedies. He went on about how race-conscious admissions results in racial balancing, which is against the Constitution's equal protection guarantee. And what he did was he spun words out of the 2003 Grutter decision that you all have referenced to say there was always supposed to be a deadline on this. It was always supposed to end. So he took bits of history and just steered it right toward the time is now, no regrets, we're doing this. And then he only took about 10, 15 minutes to read his, but then Clarence Thomas, who was with the majority, the court's only black male justice at this point, starts to read his. Now, one thing I would just say, watching these other justices listening, Ketanji Brown Jackson, our newest justice, the first female African-American justice, just sat looking out stone-faced the entire time this is going on. Some of the justices are looking at their colleagues as they're reading, but she looked out, not betraying anything on her face, although we know how she felt because of what then unfolds. So Justice Thomas, he really immediately goes to the fact that these programs could have discriminated against Asian Americans, and he hearkened back to slavery and all the wrongs of history, the Jim Crow era, and put these programs in that category and talked about how much they betrayed the equal protection guarantee of the 14th Amendment. He and then following him, Justice Sotomayor, spoke so long they had to take breaks to drink some water. But he spoke for about 20 minutes talking about these programs were always bad, they were always stigmatizing, they always hurt both sides. Affirmative action in his mind was always a zero-sum game. And inevitably, he believed that not only white students were harmed, but black and Hispanic students, and now in these cases, especially Asian American students. When he finished, then Justice Sotomayor, representing the dissenters, spoke. She's our first Latina justice on the court. She's the most senior of the liberal justices, which is why she began speaking and she read this oral dissent. And she talked about the profound mistake the majority was making here. She said it would close the doors of opportunity to people across the nation, for schools, for then business, for the military. It would have such reverberations. And she talked about the true promise of the Equal Protection Clause and how that has always had a component that was race conscious, that the guarantee of equal protection necessarily meant that people's race had to be taken into consideration. I should say that's the fundamental tension at the core of this case. Is taking race into account a form of racial discrimination, as the Chief Justice believes? He's famously said the way to stop race discrimination is to stop discriminating on the basis of race. And that was the core message as he spoke. What Justice Sotomayor said, as she's the only justice that has been wearing a mask because of COVID, so she removes her mask and she starts speaking, going on for about 25 minutes about what a wrong turn the majority has taken. And toward the end of her comments, she refers to her colleagues, Justices Kagan and Justice Jackson, and she says, Justice Jackson has filed a separate dissent that Justice Kagan and she had joined, and she wanted to read the high points of that. So she wanted to give voice to her colleagues in the fullest. But at the very end, she said, we shall overcome. It was a very mournful, robust dissent that had just a lot of unhappiness at its core, as I said, pretty mournful. But she did say, we shall overcome, despite what the majority has done here, there will be a way for progress to continue. But the bulk of her dissent was essentially saying that her colleagues had staunched progress.